Hi, it's Sandy with Needs a Ribbon. How are you doing today on this fine Monday? I hope you're doing well. If you want to comment on how you're doing with an emoji down in the comments, I will follow up with you after. But I do appreciate you being here for Make It Monday Madness on hold on, Sandy. January 19th, 2026. Wow, jumped ahead 2 months. We're good. I think I'm trying to say I'm over winter and we need to move along. Anyway, today we are here for a fun fold card, and I asked you to bring a few supplies along. A trimmer with a scoring, or trim and scoring separate. An ink pad that matches your cardstock. I think I asked for some white cardstock too, scraps or whatever. I brought some embellishments along. I actually have 2 ink pads. The stamp, of course, and I'm going to be using Endless Love with its coordinating dies. Something with a bigger image. I actually ended up not using a punch for this, but for your purpose, that's fine, or a die. It's, 2.5 inches, or it can be a little bit bigger. I wouldn't go a whole lot smaller, and you'll see why in a moment. One thing I forgot to ask you bring is about a 1-inch punch, but that's okay. We'll make do. We'll talk about that when we get there. So what else? What else? Did I ask you to bring? That might have been about it. Oh, and your adhesives and stuff, and scissors and all that normal crafty stuff. So today what we're going to make is a pillar card that folds flat. And this is, and some DSP. I have my Valentine DSP. This is the card we're going to make today. It is a pillar type card. This is how it looks. You can only see the top. When you stand it, and that's the beauty of it. So it's kind of a showpiece card. It's a fun fold, but it's an easy fold. And this is what it looks like from the front. And I forgot to bring an envelope. That's okay. It will fit in a standard envelope, as you can probably see. That's the standard card base. I don't have any envelopes within reach. Oh well. You'll have to trust me on that. So this is what we're making today. And I want to show you something. So I got this idea from Brenda Quitana at QBee something, QBee Stamps or QBee Quitana or some, I'm sorry, Brenda, I'm munching your business name, who got it from a couple other people. It's one of those, and they told 2 friends, and so on and so on. One of those kind of deals. So I took her idea, and yeah, and I just wanted to share it with you because I really do like it. Is a great way to show off that DSP. It is a showy card. I like that when they stand up like this. So like if you have a coworker you need to gift a card to, or maybe someone who lives in industrial, or you know what I mean, like a nursing home kind of thing or whatever. It's just a showy thing. They look great sitting on a desk, a mantle, or whatever. And again, it folds flat, fits in a standard envelope. I used some 6x6 paper stack to decorate this particular card and just cut it up to make it really easy. The only difference that I did from her largely was I decorated this back wall. I thought it really kind of helped enunciate, that's the wrong word, showcase, enhance is a better word, searching for words, the shape of this. She did not do that inner stuff. I did. It's optional. It is completely optional, but let's get started. It is really easy. Trust me, it really is very easy. So I asked you to bring a card base or just a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 11. And I did not cut mine ahead of time because I want to show you something. And I will pop those measurements somehow into the video. And I hope you're going to enjoy this. I hope you just kind of saw that and went, wow. All those samples that I have to show you, I'll show the rest at the end. But all the samples that I did for this are Valentines. Just because that's one of those times when you probably leave your cards sitting out for a little bit. Plus, I just really wanted to play with the products. But, okay, so this is my tip. This is why I did not pre-cut my base. And if you have not, you can follow along with me. The reason I didn't, I'm not cutting my cardstock at all yet. So we're going to score first. We're going to score at, get that cutter out of the way, please. At 1.5, 3.5, and I've made so many of these already, I don't even need any help. 5.5. So 1.5, 3.5, 5.5. And you can keep going. I don't want to plot my side piece out, so this is what you can do. You can come back and, because the measurements kind of, they're a mirror of each other. And going 1.5 and 3.5, and we've already done our 5.5. And the reason I'm saying this way, if you need to make 2. So now all I have to do is go in there and cut it, because I asked for a card base that's 4 1/4 by 11 inches. Metric people, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to leave you out. I just, it's not, I'm trying. I can do kilometers, but I can't do millimeters and centimeters yet. I can largely. So that's part of why I wanted to show you and not do mine ahead of time, so you could see. Now, we're not going to play with our score lines yet. We still have some more cutting to do, so we're going to set aside our card base. And then we're going to take our DSP pattern paper, figure out if your paper has a direction. Mine largely does. This seems to be top to bottom and side to side, just because of the way the X's and O's go. So I'm going to cut a 4-inch strip. You don't need to cut it all the way across to 12 unless you think you're going to make a bunch of these, but I just want to cut it down to 4. And again, I'll pop those measurements in, but we need to do it how Brenda did it. You need 4 by 1 3/4 pieces. I'm going to cut 4 so we can do that inside part. And if you have paper that the pattern carries across, you may want to keep your pieces side by side so you know how to lay them out. If you don't care, like this paper, it really wouldn't matter. I'm going to set them aside just to show you that, you know, so it can bridge. Like this one, I actually did make sure that you can kind of see my little heart that I split, but it really wouldn't matter at all. On this back one, I did not. But it just depends on how kind of picky you are on that. Yeah, I may actually flip it. 1 1/4. Yep, 1 1/4 by 4. So we need 2 more to do the inside. Again, that is optional. I just like how it kind of really enhances that shape. Then we need to cut a piece of white to 1 1/4 by 4. And I just grabbed some scrap white. Actually, I want to, that one end looks kind of bonged up. And I'll explain, actually it didn't matter because I would be trimming it off anyway. To 4. I hope I'm going at an okay pace for you to kind of keep up. The reason it's 1 1/4 is this panel card. It's this. This was a pre-cut kind of piece on that paper, but it's to fit in there and have a border. Is that all the cutting? For the most part, that's the cutting we need to do. I'm going to put my trimmer somewhere far, far away. from the land of fire. Oh, we need, oh, that's the other thing. We need a scrap of white, a little bit more white. And the reason we need that is we're going to make a little mechanism for this front panel to sit on. And in this case, as you can see, it was a circle. I used a 1-inch circle. You could go a little bit bigger. It's still, as long as it stays, you need 2 of them. As long as the total shape is smaller than, I'm sorry, it's really dry here because it's like 100 degrees below zero in Minnesota. I swear it's not, but it is really bad and we're having a plunge. But yeah, as long as the total shape, you could also cut a square. Like a square would have been fine for this, but as long as the total shape, when you put 2 and split them in half, basically, so the total shape is a bit smaller, so it doesn't peek out from your front, whatever you're using for your front panel. Okay, I'm using this, and what we want to do is take some width of something. How about it's 1.5 inches or smaller? I know that's a vague measurement, but again, Brenda used a 1-inch. I think you could go a little bit bigger if you don't have. I have a 1-inch punch that's long since retired, but you know, it doesn't even have to be a circle. You could cut squares. But yeah, and so then, oh, sorry, I missed that crucial step. So then we want to take and score this in half. We want a nice score line. It just makes it easier. I think we're done with the trimmer now. Let's hope so. If you can kind of see that half, probably right there really good. That halfway mark. Because what we're going to do is we're going to punch out 2 circles. I'm using circles. Your shape, you may be running to go get something. And kind of try and line up that halfway mark. It is not exact. It's not. It is just a mechanism to hold your front panel. It doesn't have to be exact. If you cut some corners off, it's not really going to matter. But we want 2. And then I'm done with this also, and this. So I'm making a pile of, I don't need them anymore. And the other thing that might have helped you, again, it's not imperative. I don't always have a bone folder handy, and I've been known to use the side of my stamping block. We want to crease these. Let's just go ahead and do that now. Okay, and we're going to put this away for now. We're going to put these aside. We're going to put a lot of this aside. I knocked it. So now, there we go. Doesn't matter, but we're just going to try and keep that together. And that is my, actually, why don't we stamp our side piece right here right now? I think that's a good time, because then when it comes time, we can just attach it when we're doing a card assembly. I am going to use, again, some elements from the Endless Love, I had a little peek. Endless Love. I'm going to stamp some hearts in Bubble Bath in just kind of a random pattern. And you want to protect always your surface. I know that I'm not quite hitting my surface, and then I could wipe it up on this. So there's that. I think I'm done with my bubble bath now. So I'm going to shut that and put it aside so I don't drag my hand through it. And so I'm going to take the Valentine, the big bold Valentine that is in the Endless Love stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that. So we're decorating our little side panel. That can be your greeting panel. Mine was not in this card because I had the pre-cut greeting here, but or it can be just a decoration. But yeah, so I'm gonna, wow, remember to use the back of your hand to prep your stamps if your photopolymer is sticky. It's just, sticky is not bad, it's part of photopolymer, especially when they're brand new. Hopefully I don't blow this on camera. I want it centered. Moment of silence as I position that, because I can't put my head above that or you'd see me. And again, hopefully you're able to follow along. It is a pretty easy card. I made one and then I made a bunch because I just got cruising. It is it's actually pretty easy once you got the measurements and stuff. Okay, we're gonna set that aside to dry. Now we're gonna bring in our card base. We're not gonna touch the scoring yet. If you want, you can fold it in half, but I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna flip it over. So that was, I ran the score this way, so the bump out part is on the top. That's just, it really honestly doesn't matter. Where is my adhesive? And a happy Monday to you too. I'm going to add my adhesive, and we're going to start from the halfway point this way, and we're going to center it top to bottom and side to side between those score marks, like that. We're going to take this one and make sure we are still going in the, I'm just trying to tell you, if you have pattern paper that has an obvious pattern, you may want to make sure your paper is continuous, your pattern. So I will bring it up, and kind of with the light you can kind of see the how I centered it. Make sure that's down. And now actually I'm going to glue that piece, this piece I just stamped, and maybe you stamped yours, maybe you'll just use some pattern paper on yours. DSP, pattern paper. And we're going to center it in that scored off area, top to bottom, and top to bottom this way, and then the from the score line to the edge of the card. That's where you should be at if you're following along. And now we're going to flip it the other direction, and we're going to work from the halfway point this way. Only optional. Optional. I could put my pattern paper. This is to do what I did. I like that because it really does. I really do like it. It's just a little bit more DSP, and it really just seems to add a lot of value to the card. I could do it that way, or we could try it with the stripe. Nah, to really emphasize that shape, we're going to keep it. We're going to do it this way. But you see how you could have fun with the paper, and again, we're just repeating the steps from the front, except now we're working from the inside of the card. And we're not going to put anything there. Want to guess why? Because we glue it shut. That's why. These don't have to be quite as accurate because they are going on the inside. But okay, so that should be done. We're pretty much done with our base card. So now would be a good time to fold it in half. And I'm going to work from the back so I don't screw up the front, and burnish. If you don't have anything to burnish, you could use your punch edge carefully, or the edge of your block. I usually end up using the edge of my block because my bone folder's been left elsewhere. So that is a mountain fold. Then we're going to do the next one, the 3.5 inch, as a mountain fold. And we're going to go mountain fold on the other side. And be very careful because we have paper on both sides of that. Okay, so we have mountain, mountain, mountain. Now we're going to make valley folds to make this piece. So we're just going to do that. Valley. So when you're all done, it should look like that. Mountain, mountain, valley, mountain, mountain, valley, one valley, 3 M's, mountain, 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 valley. Okay? Guess what? We're ready to put the card together. So I recommend you lay it open as the inside. And we're going to put some adhesive of your choice along here. And we're just going to fold it flat. And those edges should match up. If not, now is your chance to kind of squiggle them. I mean, cutting and scoring is not always an accurate science, but we want to make sure that, yeah, see, my score must have been a little bit off at some point. So I'm going to just rub that, spread that glue around. That helps with adhesion. I prefer glue. Okay, so this is where we're at. Boy, I really do like how doing that back stuff. Okay, so now we're going to work with it flat. So now we need, and again, you're starting to see how fast we're going. So now we need our little half circles, our 2 halves, actually full circles scored in half. And we're going to put adhesive. That's a lot of adhesive. I'm just going to rub those together because we really don't need quite that much. And I'm going to put one. We're going to lay it over here, top to bottom, mostly centered, but just a little offset from that that score line to allow it to break when the card is open. Just a tiny bit. Press and hold until that glue sticks. We'll do it on this side. And again, you don't need a super big break. I made a few of these and my break varied, but you do need a break. And that's why. So when it goes open like this, otherwise they just kind of rip and pull and it creates tension. Actual, this dry weather is awesome. So this is where we should be. We have our little circles or whatever, however the mechanism to hold the panel for the front. We're gonna fold it flat. I got glue. And now I'm gonna build my decoration. And I brought some elements in. I don't know. I really am not. I just kind of riffed on it. With, again, yours is going to look different, and you can do yours later too. Excuse me. Yep, this is what I wanted. I brought in some ribbon, the Bubble Bath from the Valentines suite. I think it came with the Valentines suite, the Bubble Bath. Really skinny. Yeah, it's 1/8 inch. I want to use that to put these two. Again, I could have done this later and you'd just see the finished. I just thought I'd share a little bit. So again, some of this, I'd already stamped that, and that's a shape from the Endless Love dies. That little tag element. For a skinny ribbon, I'm having trouble popping it through there. Good golly. Okay. I'm going to tie those. This is just my thought. Again, I did this all ahead of time. You might need a little more time. You can come back to it too. And then just stay and watch until you see me how I'm just going to cut a hunk off there. I normally am not quite as wasteful with my ribbon. Ribbon means a lot to me, obviously. Needs a ribbon. I'm just going to make a bow. I'm going to leave it big. Big. Partly because that ribbon is so skinny, it just kind of gets lost otherwise in those busy papers. Okay, that. And we'll trim it Oh, brother. I'm not going to do any fancy ends on this. Again, the ribbon is so small. It isn't that important. Okay, come on. Little hair hanging up there. Okay, I can come back and trim that up later too. And I probably will. Actually, wow, I did pretty good on evening it out, even though I didn't lay it that way. So I pre-cut 2 of the arrow dies that are in the die set. I didn't know. I was just kind of playing around. I think I'm done with my scissor. I am not done with the adhesive, and I need my dimensionals. And again, hopefully you're working on decorating your card now, or something. I'm just, maybe like that. I didn't know if 2 would, 2 is almost too much. It's almost too much. Okay, so I'm going to take and put a little adhesive on there and hold that in place. Wet my hands on my pants because they need washing anyway. Ha ha ha. I'm going to pop this on the pink heart that I cut out. Again, this is part of that Endless Love die set. It's got some great hearts. And I'm going to pop that up on there. It's kind of nice to add dimension. The card already has a lot of dimension, but you know, why not add more? Okay, people. Because I'm probably going to, since it's such a big heart for mine, I'm going to center that, but do I offset this? Ooh, yes, we offset. Yes, definitely. And then now you just need to put a little bit of glue here. A little bit of glue here. That is enough. If you can see that in the shadow. I'm going to hold them open kind of. Get this somewhat in position. And spread that glue around a little bit. I'm spreading it too much because it is such a small surface. And press and hold. Actually, I might need that. Okay, this is where we're at. We could end it there, but I want to play with these elements, the loose Valentine's Day assortment. These little elements. And they're just loose. It'd be great in a shaker card. I have not made a shaker card out of them yet. I've been just gluing them on my projects. As you can see on this, I used 3 of the little envelopes, mails. And it really does kind of pop. I mean, they're small, but they're impactful. You can tell I've been using a lot of the red hearts because they're kind of getting low here. I don't want any bubble bath hearts. We'll just grab a couple. Okay. Spend more time trying to decide this than making the card. Put a little dab of glue, and I'm going to put one of the white ones here. And maybe put one of these little envelopes. Put it over the red so it really stands out. And again, it doesn't take much glue to make these hold. And they are pretty fat. They're probably a 1/16 of an inch. They're pretty substantial. There's some kind of rubbery plastic. I don't know what they're actually made out of, but they're pretty fun. Not gonna lie. Oh God, these are lips. I've used up a bunch of other stuff. They're lips. I did not know that. there was some red hearts and stuff in here. I did not know those were lips. Okay. Yep. Hugs and kisses. You know what? We need to put it here. Again, I probably spent more time trying to decide my little embellishments here than I did making the card. Yep. That's what we need. We need the little... Okay, I'm going to call that done because it's just... I'm not going to say it's busy, but there's... The paper makes it... So this is my finished one. And this is what it looks like standing up from the top. You obviously, you'd probably normally view it this way, and then it'll fold flat and go in an envelope. And now is the time for me to share with you some of my other ones. I had to stop myself because I probably could have made 10 of these. Here's another one that I made. And this is using the Love, Hope, and Joy stamp set and die. And it, yes, that's one of the images. Combined with the Endless Love stuff. And yes, I carried the paper through. But where are you going to write on this? I put a little panel where I could write a little message and just say to blah, 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 from blah, 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 because I know a lot of blah, blah, blahs. Or you could put another panel there, but I just cut a 1 3/4 by 4 inch piece of white to write my message there. So that's one of them. This one is just so sweet. I used Melon Mambo. I hardly ever touch Melon Mambo. And this is our doilies. I think they call them doilies. They are like a doily. And the rest of these elements, no stamping, are from one of those ephemera packs, the Valentine ephemera pack. God, that made that easy. And even the piece back there, I just glued it behind there. And that's one of the doilies. And this is the same paper from the Endless Love. I can't remember what the whole suite's called. But that's what that one looks like. And then obviously I added some little bling bling. Some of those little bling blings. Is that it? Yep, that's it. Because I cut myself off. And again, it did not take me very long. Because I made it easy on myself. Since you can only see top down. Using easy to grab, easy to use elements. This is from that one 6x6 paper stack. What name I've forgotten. But it's made for, it's really kind of guaranteed, optimized for like classroom Valentines or bulk Valentines, because it's all 3x3, various 3x4, and whatever size that is, 1.5 by 3. I don't know. It's got all these, and it's got message to from on the back and all that. So in other words, it's meant to cut it up. Kids can make their little Valentine stuff, or you can use them like I did. And again, the ephemera pack made this a breeze, and gosh, it got me using a different color. I used to use Mambo a lot, and it got me reaching for a different color palette. So that was actually really good too. And then again, I tried to make this as easy as possible. Again, minimal die cutting. You could use, you know, the 2 3/8 and then layer some circles for your front element. Mine are all a little bit bigger. I don't know why. It's just what worked out. But, you know, it should be at least 2.5 inches. And I hope you've really, really enjoyed this pillar fun fold. Kind of impactful, and I hope you've had fun with this, and I hope you go and make, I gave you some tips on how to make a bunch of them really fast, so that you'll take this idea and run with it and share with me what you do. You can always email me at bows@needsaribbon.com to share, or share it on one of my social medias. In the meantime, we'll see you for the next Make It Monday Madness, and it's not March, it's January. Bye.